Her father forcibly married her to an outlaw until a Comanche warrior saved her. Her name was Elena, and she was born in a small town on the edge of the wild plains. The town was not big, but it was full of people who had their own rules and traditions. Everyone knew everyone, and everyone watched each other closely. The houses were made of wood, and the roads were mostly dirt. When the wind blew, dust would rise and cover everything. The sun was bright most days, and the nights were quiet and calm. Elena grew up in a home that was both loving and strict. Her mother was kind and gentle. She would often sing while cooking and would smile at Elena when she returned from school. Elena's father, on the other hand, was serious and strict. He believed that a family should be strong and respected. He believed that the best way to protect his family was to control everything that happened inside it. Elena was the only daughter in the family. She had 2 older brothers who were already grown and had moved away. Elena's father often said, "A girl must learn to be careful. The world is not always kind to women." He said this not because he hated her, but because he was afraid of what might happen to her. He thought he was protecting her by making decisions for her. As Elena grew older, she became known for her kindness and beauty. She had bright eyes and a gentle smile. She was also intelligent and curious. She loved reading, and she would often borrow books from the small library in town. She loved stories about brave people, faraway places, and lives full of adventure. But she never imagined that her own life would become a story that people would talk about for years. Elena was 20 years old when her life began to change. She was old enough to understand what was happening, but not old enough to control it. Her father had been dealing with some problems in the town. He was struggling with money and with the respect of the people around him. He wanted to restore his family's position in the community. He believed that the only way to do this was through a strong marriage. One day, Elena's father sat her down in the living room. The room was quiet. The air was still. He looked at her with a serious expression. Elena could feel that something important was about to be said. "Elena," he said, "I have found a good match for you." Elena looked at him, confused. "A match?" Her father nodded. "Yes, a strong man. Someone who can protect you and provide for you." Elena's heart began to beat faster. She had expected her father to speak about her future, but she had never imagined that he would choose it for her. "Who is he?" she asked. Her father took a deep breath. "His name is Ramon." Elena had heard the name before. Ramon was not a man who was respected in the town. People spoke of him in quiet voices, and they would look away when his name was mentioned. He was known for living far away from the town, outside the rules and laws that most people followed. He was called an outlaw by many because he lived a life that others did not approve of. Elena felt a cold feeling in her chest. She did not want to marry someone she did not know, someone who lived outside the law. She did not want to leave her home and her mother. She did not want to be taken away from the life she knew. But her father was not listening to her thoughts. He was listening to his own fears and hopes. "Ramon is strong," her father said. "He has power. He has money. He will make sure you are safe. This marriage will bring our family respect." Elena tried to speak, but her voice was soft. "But father, I don't want to marry him. I don't even know him." Her father's eyes became harder. "You will marry him. This is not a request." Elena felt her throat tighten. She looked at her mother, hoping for support, but her mother was silent. She looked down at her hands as if she did not want to be involved. Elena knew her mother was afraid of her husband. She also knew her mother wanted to protect her, but she did not know how. Elena stood up slowly. She felt like she was walking on thin ice. Please, she said. I want to make my own choices. I want to choose my own life. Her father stood up too. His voice became firm. A girl does not choose in this family.
A family chooses. This is how it has always been.
Elena could feel tears in her eyes. She did not want to cry in front of her father. She did not want to show him that he was hurting her, but her heart was breaking. She felt trapped, like a bird inside a cage. She felt like she was losing her freedom. That night, Elena did not sleep. She sat by the window and watched the moon. She thought about all the books she had read, all the stories of brave women who had fought for their freedom. She wondered if she could be like them. She wondered if she could find a way to escape. The next day, her father announced the marriage to the town. People gathered in the small square, and they listened as he spoke. Elena stood beside him, dressed in a simple dress. She tried to look calm, but she felt like she was falling apart inside. Her father spoke about the importance of family, respect, and tradition. He spoke about the future. He spoke about how this marriage would bring honor to their family. The people in the town listened quietly. Some nodded, some looked away. No one spoke out against him. Elena realized that the town would not help her. The town would not protect her. She was alone. After the announcement, Elena's father arranged for her to meet Ramon. The meeting was not friendly. Ramon was not kind. He was rough and quiet. He did not smile. He looked at Elena as if she was just another object in his life. Elena felt uncomfortable. She tried to speak, but Ramon did not seem interested in her words. Her father told Elena that the wedding would happen soon. There was no room for discussion. Elena felt the weight of her future pressing down on her. She felt like her dreams were being taken away, one by one. Days passed quickly. Elena's life became a series of preparations. Her mother tried to help her with the wedding dress. Her mother tried to comfort her, but she did not know what to say. Elena's friends avoided her. They did not know what to do. They were afraid of her father. They were afraid of Ramon. They were afraid of what would happen if they tried to help. Elena began to feel like she was living in a dream. Everything felt unreal. She would wake up and see her mother cooking, her father working, the same walls of her home. She would try to convince herself that she could change her mind. She would try to tell herself that this was not real. But it was real. It was happening. The night before the wedding, Elena went outside. She walked to the edge of the town where the fields began. The wind was cold. The sky was full of stars. She sat on a small rock and looked at the open land. She thought about the life she wanted. She thought about the freedom she had once enjoyed as a child. She remembered running through the fields, feeling the wind in her hair. She remembered laughing with her friends. She remembered feeling safe and loved. Now she felt like a prisoner. Elena's heart was filled with fear, but also with a small spark of hope. She thought, maybe there is a way out. Maybe something will happen. Maybe someone will help me. But she did not know who could help her. She did not know what she could do. The next morning, the wedding took place. It was not a joyful celebration. 7 dead by. It was quiet and serious. She did not feel beautiful. She felt like she was playing a role in a story she did not want to be part of. Ramon stood beside her. He did not speak much. He looked like a man who did not care about anything except his own power. Elena could feel his eyes on her, but she could not feel any kindness. When the ceremony was finished, Elena's father handed her over to Ramon. It was a moment that changed her life forever. Elena felt like she was leaving her old life behind. She felt like she was walking into a new world, a world where she had no control. Ramon took Elena away from the town. They traveled through the plains, far away from the people she knew. Elena looked back one last time, hoping to see her mother's face in the distance. But the town became smaller and smaller until it disappeared completely. Elena's heart was heavy. She felt alone in a world that was unknown to her. She did not know what her future would bring. She did not know if she would ever see her family again. She did not know if she would ever feel free again. But Elena was not someone who gave up easily. Even though she was scared, she was still strong inside. She had a quiet determination. She believed that she could survive. She believed that she could find a way to live, even if it was difficult. As they traveled further, Elena tried to learn about Ramon. She tried to understand him. She tried to find something kind inside him, but he remained distant. He did not speak much. He did not show any emotion. Elena began to understand that she would need to be careful. She would need to watch her steps. She would need to learn how to protect herself in a world that did not care about her. At night, Elena would sit by the fire and listen to the sounds of the plains. She would think about her family. She would think about the life she had lost. She would think about the future she did not want. But she also thought about the strength inside her. She thought about the stories she had read. She thought about the women in those stories who had faced hard times and still found a way to survive. She wondered if she could be like them. Elena did not know what the future held, but she knew one thing clearly: she would not give up. Even if she was forced into a life she did not want, she would find a way to keep her heart alive. She would find a way to hold on to her dreams, even in the darkest moments. And deep inside her, she began to prepare for what would come next. After the wedding, Elena's life changed completely. She was no longer living in her own home. She was now traveling with Ramon, the man her father had chosen for her. The plains stretched out around them like a huge sea of grass. The sky seemed endless. The wind moved through the grass, making it wave like the ocean. The landscape was beautiful, but it also felt lonely. Elena missed the small town where she grew up, where people knew her name. She missed her mother's voice and her father's presence, even though he had made her life difficult. Ramon's world was different from Elena's world. He lived in places that were far from the town. He lived in areas where there were no rules and where people did not follow the laws of the town. He was known as an outlaw because he did not obey the rules that other people followed. He did not care about what others thought of him. He cared only about his own life and his own freedom. Elena had never lived in a world like this. She had never been so far away from her family. She had never felt so alone. In the first few days, Ramon did not talk much. He seemed quiet and distant. Elena tried to speak to him, but he did not respond. She tried to ask questions, but he would only give short answers. Elena began to feel like she was invisible to him. She began to feel like she was only a part of his life, not a person. At night, Elena would lie on the ground beside the fire. She would look at the stars and think about her life. She would think about her family. She would think about the town. She would think about her mother's gentle voice. She would think about her father's serious face. She would think about the life she had lost. Elena did not know how to survive in this new world. She did not know how to cook over a fire. She did not know how to clean and care for herself in the wilderness. She did not know how to speak the language of the people who lived in these areas. She felt like she was in a strange dream. But Elena was not someone who gave up easily. She was strong inside. She had survived her first challenge. She had survived being forced into a marriage. She knew she could survive this too. So, Elena began to learn. She watched Ramon and the people around him. She learned how to build a fire. She learned how to cook simple food. She learned how to clean and care for her clothes. She learned how to move quietly in the wilderness. She learned how to listen to the sounds of the land. Even though Ramon did not speak much, Elena watched him carefully. She watched his actions. She watched his habits. She watched how he moved. She watched how he treated others. She began to understand his world. She began to understand how he survived. One day as they traveled, they met a small group of people near a river. They were not from the town. They were travelers who lived a life similar to Ramon's. They were not dangerous, but they were not friendly either. They were cautious. They watched Elena closely. They watched her as if they were trying to understand who she was. Elena felt nervous. She felt like she was being judged. She felt like she was being looked at as a strange person who did not belong. Ramon spoke to them briefly. His voice was calm and confident. He did not seem afraid. Elena noticed how others listened to him. She noticed how they respected him. She realized that even though he was not a man of the town, he had power and influence in this world. The travelers left after a short time. Elena felt relieved. She felt like she had survived another moment. But she also felt like she was still trapped. She still did not know what her life would become. She still did not know if she would ever be free. Days turned into weeks. Elena and Ramon continued to travel through the plains. Elena began to understand the routine of their life. She began to understand that every day was about survival. Every day was about finding food, water, and a safe place to sleep. Every day was about being careful. Elena also began to understand something else. She began to understand that Ramon was not a cruel man. He was not kind either. He was a man who had lived a hard life. He had learned to survive in a world where people did not care about him. He had learned to trust only himself. Elena remembered the stories she had read about people who had faced hard times. She remembered the characters who had been forced to live in difficult places. She remembered how they had learned to survive by being brave and clever. Elena realized that she could do the same, so she began to think about her future. She began to think about what she could do to make her life better. She began to think about how she could be free. But Elena also knew that she had to be careful. Ramon was a strong man. He was not a man who would easily let her go. He had already taken her away from her home. He had already made her a part of his life. He had already decided her future. Elena did not know what Ramon wanted. She did not know what he expected from her. She did not know if he would ever treat her kindly. She did not know if he would ever allow her to leave. Elena tried to speak to him again. She tried to ask him about their future. She tried to ask him if she could return home. She tried to ask him if she could have a life of her own. Ramon listened, but he did not respond. He only looked at her with a calm expression. He did not say anything. Elena felt like he was not interested in her questions. She felt like he was not interested in her feelings. One night, Elena had a dream. In her dream, she was back in her town. She was walking through the streets. She was smiling. She was free. She felt the sun on her face. She felt the wind in her hair. She felt alive. When Elena woke up, she felt sad. She felt like her dream was a memory of a life she would never have again. But she also felt something else. She felt hope. Elena realized that she still had the power to dream. She still had the power to imagine a life beyond her current world. She still had the power to believe in herself. The next day, Elena decided to do something. She decided to keep a secret notebook. She would write down her thoughts, her feelings, and her dreams. She would write down everything she wanted to remember. She would write down everything she hoped for. Elena found a small piece of paper and a pencil. She hid them in her clothes. She began to write. She wrote about her mother's smile. She wrote about her father's serious voice. She wrote about the town's small square. She wrote about the smell of fresh bread. She wrote about the sound of laughter. She wrote about the feeling of freedom. She also wrote about her current life. She wrote about the plains. She wrote about the wind. She wrote about the fire at night. She wrote about the quiet world. She wrote about Ramon. She wrote about her fears. She wrote about her hope. She wrote about her desire to be free. Writing made Elena feel stronger. Writing made her feel like she was not alone. Writing made her feel like she had a voice. But Elena knew that she could not keep her notebook forever. She knew that Ramon might find it. She knew that he might not like it. She knew that he might take it away. So Elena hid the notebook carefully. She hid it in a small place where she thought no one would look. She hid it inside her clothing, close to her heart. Elena felt like she had a secret. She felt like she had a small piece of her old life with her. She felt like she had a small piece of hope. Time passed. The seasons changed. The plains grew colder. The wind became sharper. The days became shorter. Elena's life became harder. Ramon continued to travel. Elena continued to learn. Elena continued to dream. One day they reached a small town near the edge of the plains. The town was different from Elena's town. It was rough and loud. The people were not friendly. They were suspicious of strangers. Ramon stopped in the town. Elena did not know why. She watched him carefully. She watched his face. She watched his actions. Ramon spoke to a few people in the town. He seemed calm and confident. He seemed to know what he was doing. Elena waited, feeling nervous. She did not know what would happen next. She did not know if this town would be dangerous. She did not know if they would stay here for long. After a while, Ramon turned to Elena and spoke for the first time in a long time. "We will stay here for a few days," he said. Elena felt her heart beat faster. She tried to speak.
"Why?" Ramon looked at her.
"There are things we need to do." Elena wanted to ask more questions, but she did not. She knew that it was dangerous to ask too many questions. She knew that Ramon did not like to be questioned. So Elena remained quiet. She tried to stay calm. She tried to act normal. But inside, Elena felt fear. She did not know what the future held. She did not know what would happen in this town. She did not know if she would ever be free. But Elena still had hope. She still had her dreams. She still had her notebook. And she still had the small spark inside her that said she could survive. Elena did not know it yet, but her life was about to change again. Something was coming that she could not imagine. Something was coming that would change her life forever. The small town near the edge of the plains was loud and busy. The streets were filled with people who were always in a hurry. The buildings were made of wood and stone, and many of them had signs hanging outside. The air smelled of smoke, food, and animals. Elena felt nervous as she walked through the town with Ramon. She felt like everyone was watching her. Ramon seemed calm, but Elena could tell that he was alert. He moved with confidence, as if he belonged in this town. Elena tried to keep up with him. but she often felt like she was behind. She felt like she was living in a world that was moving too fast for her. They found a place to stay in the town. It was a small building with a room in the back. The room was simple, but it had a bed and a table. Elena felt relieved to have a place to rest. She felt tired from all the traveling. She felt tired from the fear. She felt tired from the constant uncertainty. Ramon told Elena that they would stay in the town for a few days. He said he had business to do. Elena did not know what kind of business he had, but she trusted him because she had no other choice. She knew that asking too many questions could cause trouble. She knew that she had to be careful. On the first day in the town, Ramon left early in the morning. Elena stayed behind. She felt alone. She felt like she was trapped in a place where she did not belong. She walked around the town slowly, trying to understand it. She looked at the people. She listened to their conversations. She tried to learn the rules of this new world. As she walked, she noticed something unusual. There was a group of people standing near the edge of the town, watching the road. They looked serious and focused. Elena wondered what they were waiting for. She felt a strange feeling in her stomach. She felt like something was going to happen. Elena walked closer, trying to see what was going on. She did not want to get involved, but she could not help being curious. She saw that the group was watching the road for a rider. They were waiting for someone. Elena continued to watch. She saw a man riding a horse in the distance. The horse was moving fast. The man was dressed in clothes that looked different from the people in the town. His face was calm. His eyes were sharp. Elena felt something in her heart, something she could not explain. The man rode closer. He stopped near the group. The people greeted him respectfully. They spoke to him in a language that Elena did not fully understand. Elena felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. She felt like she was watching a moment that was important. The man was a Comanche warrior. He was tall and strong. He had long hair that moved in the wind. He wore clothing that was simple but well made. He had a calm and confident presence. Elena could tell that he was a person who was used to living in the wild. He seemed connected to the land. Elena had heard stories about the Comanche people. She had heard that they were skilled in many things, especially in riding and living in the plains. She had heard that they were brave and proud. She had also heard that they were different from the people in the town, and that many people did not understand them. Elena watched the Comanche warrior closely. She felt drawn to him. She did not know why. She felt like there was something in his eyes that was different from anyone she had ever seen. He looked at the world with calm confidence. He looked at the people around him with respect. He looked like someone who lived by his own rules. Elena did not know that the warrior was also watching her. He had noticed her from the moment she arrived in the town. He had noticed the way she walked, the way she looked at the people, and the way she seemed out of place. He had noticed her sadness. He had noticed her fear. The warrior did not know her name, but he felt that she was someone who needed help. He felt that she was not happy. He felt that she was trapped. He did not know why, but he felt a strong sense of responsibility. He felt that he needed to protect her. As the day went on, Elena continued to see the warrior around the town. He moved quietly and carefully. He did not draw attention to himself. He seemed to be watching the town and the people, as if he was trying to understand what was happening. Elena tried to stay away from him. She did not want to cause trouble. She did not want to draw attention to herself. She did not want anyone to notice that she was watching him. But she could not stop thinking about him. She could not stop wondering who he was and why he was here. She felt like there was a connection between them, even though they had never spoken. That night, Elena could not sleep. She lay on the bed and listened to the sounds of the town. She heard the voices of people outside. She heard the sound of horses. She heard the wind. She felt the fear inside her, but she also felt something else. She felt hope. Elena thought about the warrior. She thought about his calm eyes. She thought about his strength. She thought about his presence. She wondered if he could help her. She wondered if he could understand her. Elena did not know that the warrior was also thinking about her. He had returned to the edge of the town and had sat by the river. He had watched the town from a distance. He had seen Elena walking alone. He had seen her sadness. He had felt a desire to help her. The warrior did not know how to help her. He did not know her story, but he knew that she was in danger. He knew that she was not happy. He knew that she was trapped. The next morning, Elena woke up early. She decided to walk outside before Ramon returned. She wanted to feel the fresh air. She wanted to feel free for a moment. She wanted to see the world without the fear. As she walked, she noticed the warrior again. He was standing near the river, watching the water. He looked calm. He looked peaceful. Elena felt a strange feeling in her heart. She felt like she wanted to speak to him, but she did not know how. Elena walked closer. She stopped a short distance away. She did not speak. She did not want to cause trouble. She just wanted to be near him. The warrior turned his head and looked at her. He did not look surprised. He did not look afraid. He looked calm and respectful. Elena felt her heart beat faster. She did not know what to say. She did not know how to speak to him. The warrior spoke first. "You are not from here," he said in simple words. Elena was surprised. She did not expect him to speak to her. She did not expect him to speak in her language. "No," Elena said softly. "I am not." The warrior nodded. "You look sad." Elena felt tears in her eyes. She tried to hide them, but she could not. She felt like she could not control her emotions anymore. "I am," Elena said. "I am not happy. I am not free." The warrior listened quietly. He did not speak. He did not interrupt. He just listened. Elena felt a strange feeling of relief. She felt like someone was finally hearing her. She felt like someone was finally understanding her. The warrior looked at her and said, "You are in danger." Elena's heart beat faster. She felt fear again. She felt like her world was closing in on her. "How do you know?" Elena asked. The warrior looked at her carefully. He did not speak quickly. He did not act without thinking. "I can see it," he said. "You are not safe. You are not free. Your eyes tell me." Elena did not know what to say. She felt a mix of fear and hope. She did not know if she could trust him. She did not know if he could help her. The warrior continued, "If you want, I can help you." Elena felt her heart beat faster. She wanted to say yes, but she was afraid. She was afraid of what would happen if she trusted him. She was afraid of what Ramon would do. She was afraid of what the town would think. But Elena also felt a strong feeling inside her. She felt that this warrior was different. She felt that he was kind. She felt that he was honest. Elena looked at him and whispered, "I want to be free." The warrior nodded. He did not promise anything. He did not make a big speech. He simply nodded. Elena did not know what would happen next. She did not know if the warrior would keep his promise. She did not know if she would ever be free. But for the first time in a long time, Elena felt hope. She felt that her life might change. She felt that something was coming that could save her. And she waited, not knowing what the future would bring. Elena felt the wind on her face as she stood near the river. The water moved slowly and the sunlight made small lights on the surface. The Comanche warrior stood beside her, calm and steady. Elena's heart was still beating fast. She could not believe she was speaking to someone who offered help. The warrior had not given her any promises. He had only said that he could help. Elena knew that help was not always easy. She knew that help could bring more problems, but she also knew that she could not stay in the town forever. She could not stay with Ramon forever. She needed a change. The warrior spoke softly. "You must be careful. Your husband is a strong man. He is not a man who listens to others." Elena nodded. She understood. She had already seen how Ramon acted. He was not a man who liked to be questioned. He was not a man who liked to lose control. The warrior continued, "You must not make him angry. You must not show him that you want to leave. You must act normal. You must pretend that everything is fine." Elena listened carefully. She knew that he was right. She knew that if she acted without thinking, she could lose her chance. She could lose her life. She could lose everything. The warrior then said, "I will watch you. I will watch him. I will find a way." Elena felt a strange feeling inside her. She felt grateful. She felt afraid. She felt hopeful. She felt like she was finally not alone. The next days were difficult. Elena tried to act normal. She tried to behave like a happy wife. She tried to smile. She tried to be calm. She tried to make Ramon feel comfortable. She tried to make him think that she was fine. But inside, Elena was afraid. She was afraid that the warrior would not come. She was afraid that Ramon would notice her fear. She was afraid that the town would discover her secret. Elena's days were full of small tasks. She would cook, clean, and take care of their small room. She would listen to the people in the town. She would watch the road. She would watch the people. She would watch Ramon. Elena also tried to learn more about the town. She wanted to understand it better. She wanted to know where the safe places were. She wanted to know where she could go if she had a chance to escape. The warrior continued to watch from a distance. He did not come close to Elena too often. He did not want to draw attention. He did not want to cause trouble. He only came when he felt it was safe. One evening, the warrior returned to the edge of the town. He looked tired but calm. Elena saw him from a distance. She felt a wave of relief. That night, the warrior approached Elena carefully. He spoke in a low voice so no one would hear. "I have a plan," he said. Elena's heart beat faster. She felt hope again. She felt like she was finally going to have a chance. The warrior continued, "Tonight, when everyone is asleep, you will leave the town. You will walk quietly to the edge of the town. You will find the place where the river is closest. I will be there." Elena's eyes widened. She felt a mix of fear and excitement. She wanted to say yes, but she was afraid. She was afraid of the unknown. She was afraid of what would happen if she failed. The warrior saw her fear and spoke gently. "You will not be alone. You will not be alone. I will be there. I will guide you." Elena nodded. She felt her hands shaking. She tried to control her fear. She tried to stay calm. The warrior continued, "You must take only what you need. You must not take your notebook. You must leave it behind." Elena felt sad. She had worked hard to keep her notebook safe. She had written her dreams and her thoughts in it. She had kept it close to her heart. Now she had to leave it behind. But Elena understood. She understood that the notebook could be dangerous. She understood that it could be found. She understood that it could cause trouble. Elena nodded again. She would leave the notebook. She would leave her past behind. She would take her future. The warrior then said, "You must be quiet. You must not speak to anyone. You must not ask for help. You must trust me." Elena looked at him. She saw the seriousness in his eyes. She saw the determination in his face. She felt that he was honest. She felt that he truly wanted to help her. Elena whispered, "Thank you." The warrior nodded. He did not smile. He did not show emotion. But Elena could feel his kindness. That night, Elena waited until the town became quiet. She waited until the people stopped talking. She waited until the lights in the buildings went out. She waited until the world became still. Elena dressed in simple clothes. She put on a small bag with water and a little food. She looked at Ramon sleeping in the room. She looked at him for a moment, trying to understand him. She tried to find any sign of kindness. She tried to understand why he had taken her away, but Ramon remained asleep. He looked peaceful. He looked calm. Elena felt a strange feeling. She felt sad for him. She felt like he was also a person who had his own life. She felt like he was also trapped in his own world. Elena turned away and left the room quietly. She moved like a shadow. She moved like a person who was afraid of being seen. She moved like a person who was trying to become invisible. She walked through the town slowly. She listened carefully. She listened for any sound. She listened for any footsteps. She listened for any voice. Elena reached the edge of the town. The air was cold. The sky was dark. The stars were bright. The river flowed quietly. Elena could hear the water. She looked around. She felt fear. She felt hope. She felt like she was about to step into a new life. Then she saw the warrior. He was standing near the river, waiting. He looked calm. He looked strong. He looked like a person who belonged to the land. Elena felt a wave of relief. She felt like she had found a safe place. She felt like she had found a person who cared. The warrior nodded at her. He did not speak. He only gestured for her to follow. Elena followed him quietly. They walked along the river. They walked through the dark. They walked through the cold. Elena felt her heart beating fast. She felt like she was living in a dream. They moved carefully. They avoided the main road. They avoided any lights. They avoided any people. Elena could feel the danger. She could feel the risk. She could feel that this was not easy, but she also felt that this was the first time she had chosen her own path. As they walked, Elena looked back at the town. She could see the lights in the distance. She could see the small buildings. She could see the life she had left behind. Elena felt a strange feeling. She felt sad. She felt scared. She felt hopeful. She turned away and continued walking with the warrior. They traveled for a long time. Elena began to feel tired. She began to feel cold. She began to feel unsure. She wondered if she had made the right choice. But the warrior continued to guide her. He continued to move with confidence. He continued to keep her safe. Finally, after many hours, they reached a place where the land opened up. The river widened. The plains stretched out. The sky looked huge. Elena felt like she was standing in the middle of the world. She felt like she was finally free. The warrior stopped. He turned to Elena and spoke softly. "You are safe now," he said. Elena looked at him. She felt tears in her eyes. She felt a mix of emotions. She felt relief. She felt gratitude. She felt sadness. She felt hope. Elena whispered, "Thank you." The warrior nodded. He did not speak again. He did not promise anything else. He simply stood beside her, watching the land. Elena realized that her life had changed. She was no longer trapped in the town. She was no longer trapped in the life her father had chosen for her. She was no longer forced to stay with Ramon. Elena was free. But she also knew that her journey was not over. She still had a long way to go. She still had to find a place where she could live safely. She still had to find a new life. Elena looked at the warrior and asked, "Where will I go now?" The warrior looked at her and said, "We will find a safe place. We will find a place where you can live in peace." Elena felt hope again. She felt like her life was finally beginning. And she knew that no matter what happened next, she would never forget this night. She would never forget the moment when she chose freedom. Elena stood on the edge of the wide plains, feeling the cool air against her face. The night was quiet, and the stars shone brightly above her. For the first time in a long time, she felt a sense of peace. She felt like she was no longer a prisoner. She felt like she had taken control of her life. The Comanche warrior stood beside her, calm and silent. He watched the land with careful eyes. Elena did not know his name, but she felt like she could trust him. She felt like he was a person who understood the world in a way that she did not. He had helped her escape, and he had shown her kindness without asking for anything in return. Elena turned to him and asked, "Where will we go now?" The warrior looked at her and replied, "We will go to a place where you can be safe." Elena nodded. She did not know what that place was, but she trusted him. She had learned that trust was not something to give lightly, but she also knew that she had to trust someone if she wanted to survive. They began to walk together. They moved slowly, carefully, and quietly. The warrior led Elena through the plains. He knew the land well. He knew where the water was. He knew where the safe places were. He knew where to avoid people. Elena followed him. She felt nervous, but she also felt brave. She felt like she was finally living her own life. As they traveled, Elena noticed that the warrior did not carry many things. He had a small bag with some food and water. He had a blanket. He had a small tool for starting a fire. He had a simple knife for cutting wood. Elena realized that he lived with very little. He lived with what he needed. He lived with a life that was connected to the land. Elena felt grateful for his help. She felt like she had found a person who truly cared. She felt like she had found a friend. They walked for several days. During the day, they rested in the shade. During the night, they walked quietly. Elena learned how to move through the land without making noise. She learned how to find water. She learned how to start a fire. She learned how to respect the land. The warrior did not speak much. He was a man of few words, but when he spoke, Elena listened carefully. His words were simple, but they were full of meaning. One evening, as they rested near a small stream, Elena asked him, "Why did you help me?" The warrior looked at her and answered, "Because you needed help. Because you are not safe. Because you did not deserve to be trapped." Elena felt her eyes fill with tears. She had never heard anyone speak like that to her. She had never heard anyone say that she deserved freedom. She had never heard anyone speak to her with such respect. Elena thanked him again. She did not know how to express her feelings. She did not know how to explain how much his help meant to her. The warrior smiled slightly. It was the first time Elena had seen him smile. It was a small smile, but it was warm. Elena felt her heart soften. She felt like she was beginning to trust him even more. As they continued their journey, Elena began to think about her future. She began to think about what she wanted to do with her life. She began to think about the things she had always dreamed of. She thought about going back to school. She thought about finding a place where she could live in peace. She thought about meeting new people. She wondered if her mother was safe. She wondered if her father was still in the town. She wondered if her brothers had heard about her. She wondered if they were worried. Elena did not know if she could ever go back to her old life. She did not know if her father would ever understand her. She did not know if her mother would forgive him for what he had done. She did not know if she would ever see her family again. But Elena knew one thing. She wanted to live a life of her own. She wanted to make her own choices. She wanted to be free. After several days of traveling, the warrior led Elena to a small community near the edge of the plains. It was a place where people lived quietly, away from the busy towns. The people were kind. The community was peaceful. Elena felt a sense of relief. She felt like she had found a place where she could finally rest. She felt like she had found a place where she could begin again. The warrior introduced Elena to the people in the community. They welcomed her kindly. They offered her food and a place to sleep. They asked her where she had come from. Elena told them a small part of her story, but she did not share everything. She did not want to risk her safety. The people in the community were respectful. They did not ask too many questions. They did not judge her. They simply accepted her. Elena felt grateful. She felt like she had finally found a place where she belonged. Elena began to work in the community. She helped with cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children. She helped with a small garden. She helped with the animals. She worked hard, and she felt proud. She felt like she was contributing to something good. As the days passed, Elena began to feel stronger. She began to feel like her life was becoming stable. She began to feel like she could finally breathe. She began to feel like she could finally be herself. The warrior stayed near the community. He did not leave. He did not go far. He remained close, watching from a distance. Elena felt safe knowing that he was nearby. She felt like she had someone who cared about her. One day, Elena was working in the garden when she saw a familiar face in the distance. She looked closer, and her heart stopped. She saw her mother walking toward the community. Elena ran toward her mother. She felt her legs move quickly. She felt her heart beating fast. She felt a mix of joy and fear. Her mother saw her and ran too. They hugged each other tightly. Elena felt tears streaming down her face. She felt like she had finally found her home again. Her mother pulled back and looked at Elena. She looked at her face. She looked at her eyes. She looked at her hands. She looked at her clothes. She looked like she was trying to understand what had happened. "Elena," her mother said softly, "are you safe?" Elena nodded. "Yes, mother, I am safe." Her mother hugged her again. She looked at the warrior standing a short distance away. She looked at him with surprise. She did not understand who he was. Elena introduced the warrior to her mother. She explained how he had helped her. She explained how he had guided her to safety. She explained how he had shown her kindness. Her mother looked at the warrior with gratitude. She thanked him. She said, "Thank you for saving my daughter." The warrior nodded. He did not speak much. He simply looked at Elena and her mother with respect.
Elena's mother stayed in the community for a few days.
She talked to Elena about her life. She talked to Elena about her father. She talked to Elena about the town. She talked to Elena about her brothers. Elena listened carefully. She did not want to know all the details. She did not want to hear too much about her father. She did not want to feel angry again. She wanted to focus on her new life. Elena's mother told her that her father had been worried about her. She told her that he had been trying to find her. She told her that he had been asking people about her. She told her that he had been lonely. Elena did not know what to feel. She felt sad. She felt angry. She felt confused. She felt like her father had taken her freedom away, but she also felt like he was a person who had made a mistake. Elena's mother asked her if she wanted to go back to the town. She asked her if she wanted to see her father. Elena thought for a moment. She thought about her father's strict face. She thought about the pain he had caused her. She thought about the life she had lost. Elena realized that she did not want to go back to the town. She did not want to go back to a life where she did not have freedom. She did not want to go back to a life where she was controlled. Elena told her mother, "I cannot go back. I need to live my own life. I need to be free." Her mother nodded. She understood. She did not argue. She did not force her. She simply hugged Elena and said, "I understand." Elena felt a sense of relief. She felt like she had made the right decision. She felt like she had finally found her own path. Elena continued to live in the community. She continued to work. She continued to learn. She continued to grow. She also continued to write, but this time she wrote in her heart. She wrote her story in her memory. She wrote her dreams in her mind. She did not need a notebook anymore. She did not need a secret. She had her freedom. As time passed, Elena became a respected member of the community. People trusted her. People listened to her. People valued her kindness and her strength. The warrior stayed near her. He became her friend. He became a protector. He became someone who respected her and her choices. He did not try to control her. He did not try to change her. He simply supported her. Elena felt grateful for his presence. She felt like she had found a true friend. She felt like she had found someone who understood her. One day, Elena stood near the edge of the plains again. She looked at the horizon. She felt the wind on her face. She felt the sun on her skin. She felt alive. She thought about her past. She thought about the difficult times. She thought about the fear. She thought about the pain. She thought about the life she had lost. But she also thought about the strength she had gained. She thought about the courage she had found. She thought about the freedom she had earned. Elena smiled. She felt proud of herself. She felt like she had survived. She felt like she had grown. She knew that her story was not over. She knew that she would face new challenges. She knew that life would not always be easy, but she also knew that she was no longer trapped. She knew that she could choose her path. She knew that she could live her life with dignity and respect. Elena turned away from the plains and walked back to the community. She walked with confidence. She walked with hope. She walked with the knowledge that she was free.